Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for 6 things we learnt from Chelsea 1, Fulham 0. Contrary to popular belief, some people have come out and said that George is looking for Chelsea to lose to get rid of Pochettino. Absolutely not. I want him to turn things around. And this is step number 1. You've got to beat what's put in front of you. It wasn't the perfect performance. I don't think Chelsea were amazing. But there were definite improvements from the Middlesbrough game. The first half, I thought it was pretty woeful. We weren't quick. It wasn't really the response that you'd expect to see, having been absolutely humiliated on Tyneside just a few days earlier. And I think overall, Chelsea here just got the job done. Fulham can be one of those teams when you see Arsenal play against them recently. Arsenal went ahead, Fulham come behind and they win. You've also got Willian, whose name was being sang all around Stamford Bridge because we don't really want to sing about our own players at the moment, which I guess we do, but it's kind of understandable. They're all new. New songs aren't aplenty, so Willian's song's going around, and you're just looking and you're thinking, the way our season has gone, you would just imagine that this bloke is going to step up and somehow ruin the afternoon in West London, but West London remains the colour of blue. And if you're happy about that, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the George Benson football channel if you are new. If you're wondering if I'm in jail right now, I'm not. This is our hotel room. We're in Bangkok for the next 4 days, although there's a little trip somewhere else in between. We're in the hotel room. Last night I literally passed out at full time. We're going to begin though with the boxes here in 6 things we learned because there's enough positives. And watching the match, particularly the second half, I feel as though there was a bit more urgency. And at that point, we're already winning 1-0. The amount of times this season that Chelsea have capitulated in the second half of matches, you were kind of expecting it going into this one, but there were certain players that turned up and they needed to in this game. And the first one that we're going to discuss is Enzo Fernandez. He is a green box here today in Chelsea's 1-0 win. Enzo, we've been needing more. We've been needing more energy. We've been needing more bursts forward. And he was very good. I think the pass accuracy was about 82%. He was trying to get the ball forward as much as he could. Should have had himself a goal and an assist as well. The one thing I will say is I want some shots on target when he's shooting from outside the area. I don't know what it is, but it is as if there are some Chelsea allergies to actually making goalkeepers make saves and always having to put the ball over or wide. There were multiple times yesterday where I think Enzo could have scored. He didn't, has another big chance created as well, but overall the energy of the game was dictated by Enzo Fernandez, and that is what we need to see every time he steps on the Stamford Bridge turf. Box number 2 is a green for the goal scorer, Cole Palmer. It is honestly the perfect time for Chelsea to get a penalty. Just before the break, if it goes in at 0-0, then Marco Silva's team talk is basically, look, this team that we're playing against here, in that second half of matches, they capitulate, they fold, they don't seem to have the energy, the nous, the know-how to break teams down. So if we can go in at 0-0, then we're in with a really good chance of winning. Palmer's penalty, it's a great penalty once again, and then in the second half, you start to see him playing with that flair. There's that touch that he does where he kind of like, I'm not going to do it now, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try and hook my leg up. It didn't work. I couldn't get my leg to go behind my head up the wall there. Not that flexible. That touch, runs around, controls it, tries to get it forward again, is absolutely magnificent. And I don't know how many it is now. I think it's 15 or 16 goal involvements now in the Premier League this season. 14? 15? I don't know. It's one of those. But the numbers are massive for Cole Palmer. I've just woke up, guys, so I do apologise that I'm a little bit slow. We move into box number 3. If ever there was a redemption performance needed for a player, Levi Chilwell. He was absolutely awful against Middlesbrough, but in my opinion, as much as he didn't get box number 1, I think Levi Chilwell might have been the best player on the pitch for Chelsea in this game. He was absolutely brilliant. Won the most duels, got the ball forward into the final third the most out of any other Chelsea player too, and he looks comfortable. I don't know if it is the pressure that for whatever reason Pochettino won't play him in centre-back. Ben Chilwell is there on the bench and he's like, maybe I lose my place in the team today if I don't play very well. And to be quite honest, The way he played against Borough, you wouldn't have been surprised if he wasn't picked at all. With Chilwell back in the squad, he could have easily been starting, but having been out for so long, it made sense, and it was so good to see Benjamin bloody Chilwell, a name that we've not said really on the channel at all this season. But Levi was magnificent. He looked super, super comfortable, very confident going forward, wasn't caught out of position many times. Fulham were kind of trying to go a bit more central with the attacks, which I think fits Levi Chilwell's game obviously a lot more because he is more of a centre-back. But getting the ball forward, doing his defensive duties, super positive performance from him. Moving into box number 4, and one of the weaknesses for Chelsea here against Fulham was Conor Gallagher. I've given him a yellow because I think the work that he did off the ball was solid. I think positionally, he was good, he was aware, but it's the on-the-ball stuff. There's a time in the first half where Pochettino is literally barking at him like a rabid dog on the touchline, saying, why have you now turned backwards and passed it backwards? He needs to go forwards. And I think when you see the importance of players like Enzo, I thought Moises Caicedo, I've not given a box here, he was also fantastic yesterday. I thought between the two of them, they dictated that midfield. And I think it was just a bit sterile, really, from Gallagher. I think Gallagher and Sterling, weirdly, and a lot of games this actually does happen, but particularly yesterday, they just slowed everything down. They stopped attacks going forward. It wasn't fluid. And I think they do need to be a lot more creative. He also hits the post in the second half, and he's really got to score there. He kind of slices at it, goes into the post, and you never know, Chelsea could have needed that second goal. We need more from Gallagher. No goals this season either. He's got to start delivering in those areas, but off the ball, I thought he did really well indeed. Box number 5 is a red for Armando Brerr. He's running around, he's trying hard, but it's a striker. And when you're in the box, there's a brilliant, brilliant opportunity where Malo Gusto puts in a fantastic ball. And it's on a plate for Armando Brerr, and he doesn't even really connect with it. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, well, if ever it was obvious, Pochettino said it in a press conference, he's like, oh no, I didn't say that, but Pochettino wants a striker. Chelsea need a striker who, when the ball is fizzing around the area, is going to put it in. And Armando Brerr just doesn't seem to have that. And I think when you're a player who looks like he's slightly unhappy when he's playing football, as a striker, you've seen this before many times. Diego Costa would look as though he's about to kill the person next to him. But it's kind of this frustration that is channeled in the right way. With Armando Brerr, I'm looking at him, I'm watching him play, and I feel as though there is a constant frustration that as a striker you're not scoring goals. But I don't think he's channeling it the right way. I think he's in his own head when he's out there on the pitch, as opposed to using that aggression to get into the heads of the opposition to force mistakes. And I think at this point in time, that is the confidence issue that stops Armando Brerr becoming a top striker who's burying chances, getting in between defenders, and 9 times out of 10 making their lives more difficult. He's got to adopt this kind of mentality into his game as a striker. Otherwise, it's not going to work for him at Chelsea. But I also think he needs that more clinical edge mentally, and with, of course, with his finishing as well, to make it at any Premier League club at this point. Box number 6, the final box of this video, Thiago Silva. It's not a coincidence that when Chelsea keep a clean sheet, when we look the most solid, it is a monstrous performance from a 39-year-old. And when we've got positives to discuss, when Chelsea are winning, I think for the rest of this season, when Thiago Silva puts in that shift, I'm going to be back in the agenda to keep him in this squad next season. It'd be just cool to see a 40-year-old centre-back playing for Chelsea. Like, it gives me a chance. You know, I'm nearly 30 next year, and it means I could have 10 years at the top level playing at Chelsea. You never know. It's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Sunday. Hopefully, you guys are watching this in the middle of the night, and if you did enjoy it, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe if you were new. Silva was fantastic towards the end of the game, when Chelsea are kind of just fighting to get it over the line. As fans, you're watching and you're thinking, it'd be the most classic Chelsea thing right now, the way that this season has gone, to just concede a scrappy goal, but we're getting rid of the ball. Alfie Gilchrist with what is now becoming a staple, hoof up the field to end the game. Chelsea get the job done, and we are now ahead of Newcastle, Manchester United, and I'm going to quietly say this here, we are 9 points away from title challenging Arsenal. I'm not saying anything else. Come on, you Blues.